This is Getting Answers, Western Mass News.
Good to have you with us on this Sunday morning for Western Mass News Getting Answers as we get ready for the big snow today. Each and every week, as you know, I'm joined by political and business leaders and other newsmakers to talk about the issues that impact all of us. Western Mass News and 94.7 WMAS are teaming up with the United Way Pioneer Valley to help feed the valley. It starts tomorrow from January 26th through February 6th. You can drop off non-perishable food items at our studios at 1300 Liberty Street or 94.7 WMAS at the Basketball Hall of Fame, both in Springfield, Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. If you're unable to come down and drop off donations, food donations, monetary donations to the United Way can be made via their website. We're going to talk more about that with Chief Development Officer Jessica Prokop. Jessica, good to have you with us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Busy time.
It is.
I think most of our viewers, they know of the United Way, but I think a good starting point would be just a quick history of the United Way, the Pioneer Valley, and how it's evolved through the years, too.
Sure. So we've been in the community for over 100 years and still the same basic needs, right? We want to mobilize community resources to be able to get people basic needs. And we have changed a little bit. I think people know the United Way as a pass-through organization, taking funds in and putting it back out to other different nonprofits. We've actually kind of changed that model, and people would be surprised to know that we're now direct service. Starting just a few years ago, all funds that come in are put right through our direct service programming, and the goal is to make a bigger impact in our community.
I think what we're talking about, this United Way, everyone's local. You're affiliated with the United Way worldwide, but really your own entity, and that's all of you are different, right?
Yeah, we're all different. We all are under the United Way umbrella, but every United Way is local, and the funding is local, and the funds that go back out into the community are local dollars and funds. So we're a small shop that's trying to make a big impact here in the community.
Sure, and as we know, the cost of food has skyrocketed. COVID-era SNAP benefits have disappeared. How severe is the food insecurity problem here in the Valley?
It's pretty severe. So we opened our pantry back in 2020, serving just a few dozen families. We are now around 650 per week. Per week. It ebbs and flows, but through our 2 pantries and our 21 agency partners, we're doing around 500 to 650 a week. We're on the higher end now with that SNAP benefit crisis that happened. And a lot of that happens to do with kind of looking at our communities, right? So if you look at Massachusetts and the towns that are receiving SNAP benefits in the United Way of Pioneer Valley's kind of direct service area, we have Springfield, Holyoke, and Chicopee. Those are the top 3 that receive SNAP benefits. So it's a direct correlation to just the needs of our community.
We talk about the SNAP benefits. What big of an impact did that delay have on what you do with the food?
Oh, it was huge. So thankfully, we knew that it was coming and we prepared for it, and we ended up purchasing a bunch of food to make sure that we were ready and able to help anybody that needed it. But there was a lot of fear of families not being able to feed their children, a lot of fear of people not being able to feed their parents, their elderly parents, because when SNAP benefits, the card isn't loaded with funds, you can't buy food. But we were open and we were ready, and we were able to meet the needs of everybody that came through our line. So really grateful for that, and that's because of the support of our community.
Has the people you're seeing coming through these lines looking for help, you hear these days more about the working poor, that yes, they are working, but it's tougher and tougher to make ends meet, and you have to make these tough decisions.
You do. So a lot of people we're seeing are coming right from work.
Yeah.
They are working, they're bringing their children along, and they're just having to choose between paying the mortgage, and with inflation and with all of those other costs, they have to make tough decisions, and sometimes food is the thing that they can kind of cut back on, and it's really unfortunate. We're seeing a lot more children in the pantry, I think, especially over the weekend. That's a really tough time to feed. Sometimes if they're school age, they're able to get breakfast and lunch at school, but then they're missing dinner and they're missing food on the weekend. So we're seeing everybody. We're seeing an increase in elderly in our line. We're seeing an increase of disabled in our line. It is impacting everybody across the community.
Sure, and then I think the other thing is over the last 4 or 5 years, food prices have been, well, they're skyrocketing. I mean, it doesn't look like they're coming down anytime soon.
Right. And we try to, at our pantries, give people choice and dignity and respect. So when you're coming through our line, we are giving you a protein, we are giving you fresh vegetables, fruit, we are giving you, rice and beans in cans. One of the most striking things to me when I started at the United Way about a year and a half ago was the story around our can opener. So one of the items that I give when I'm going and speaking to people is a can opener, and everyone's like, this is great, but why are you giving, I'm used to pens and stickers, why am I getting a can opener? And the story behind that is we would have people in our lines leave the cans behind, and we would say, hey, these are for you, and they'd say, we have no way to open that. And so that just speaks to the need of our community, that they don't even have the tools to open the food items that we're giving them. So we said, if we're going to make a tchotchke that we're going to be giving out to the community, we're going to make one that's impactful. So now we have can openers at our pantry as well. So if you need one, you can absolutely take one. And it just makes a good story of what we're trying to do here in the community, which is feed people.
Yeah, we don't need another pen. Can opener would help.
That's right.
And as far as the people you serve, are you finding it in this day and age, as far as, people are kind of reluctant to say, I need help? But you're open to everybody. We're open to everybody.
We turn nobody away, and our pantry will stay open as long as needed. So our Springfield pantry is open 1:30 to 5:30 every Tuesday, and our Holyoke pantry is open every Thursday from 2:30 to 5:30. But we make sure everybody in the line receives food. We don't turn anybody away, and we hope to make it a place where you don't feel embarrassed or scared to ask for help, because that's what we're here for. And everyone's going through a tough time, and now's the time to come together as a community and lift each other up with no judgment, just the desire to want to help.
You were talking before we started taping the show today, how people have talked to you and said, we're comfortable going here. We feel at ease when we come here. We don't feel like we're taking a handout more than anything else.
Yeah, we're welcoming. We have regulars that come in and are happy to see us. Our pantry is clean, and it's easily accessible. We have a wheelchair ramp that makes us one of the few pantries that everybody can access. I think people just realize that we're really there to help, and we will make sure that if you have a need, that it will be met. And that's the whole purpose of the United Way, right? Basic needs being met in the community. And so this food pantry and food insecurity really aligns with the mission of the United Way. And the heart of the United Way is making sure people can eat. That's a basic need.
Yes, that's the one thing, as far as the United Way is concerned, that things about the United Way have changed through the year, but the basic mission has never changed.
That's right. The only thing that's different is that we are now being the direct service provider instead of taking the money in and then handing out the grants. And it's just a more efficient model. Us being able to have the purchasing power as a nonprofit, us being able to have the bigger location, to have a larger pantry, to be able to feed 650 people a week, we have the ability to do that. And we've been able to grow it organically and do it in a way where we're able to partner now. Maybe we don't hand out the funds, but we have 21 agency partners that come get food from us so that their clients can eat and they don't have to worry about going to Springfield or Holyoke. They can get the food right from their agency partner. So I think our reach is bigger, the impact is bigger, and the dollar is going farther with us being a direct service provider.
You were talking about the affiliation you have with the HCC Culinary Services and what they do to help you out too, and show folks at home, here's what you can do with this.
Yeah, our pantry at HCC is amazing. One of the things that I'm always just in awe about is the talent of the culinary arts students. And one thing that they love to do is whatever the food is for the week, the culinary arts students will create meals out of that food, create a little recipe card, and then sometimes they'll serve it in their truck, their food truck, so that our pantry clients can see what this food can turn into. And there's some really cool meals. Again, that making it more of a, we're here to help, and we think this is so cool to be able to give them a recipe card and give them an idea of what they can make with this food.
We talk about food drives, and they're always at the forefront around the holidays, but as we've talked before, the need is year-round. This doesn't ease up after Thanksgiving and Christmas or anything.
It doesn't, and that's why we're so thankful for the partnership, because I think a lot of people towards the holidays, you see giving increase, you see donations increase, and then it falls off in January, but we still have those same lines in January and February. So we're so grateful for the partnership, and we're so excited to be able to kind of talk about the food pantry on this awesome platform and let the community know not only about the food drive, but also, more importantly, if you need food, we're here. and we will help you.
So what are we looking for with the food drive that begins tomorrow?
So food drive, you can find the actual list on the website, but the things that you really want to think about are non-perishables, right? So cereals, canned beans, canned meats, rice, things that aren't going to spoil easily.
If someone's, we're talking about dropping off the non-perishable items starting tomorrow, and this runs through February 6th, so we got a couple of weeks.
Yep.
I know the snow may play a little role on Monday. So at 1300 Liberty Street here in Springfield, in the WMAS studios, the Basketball Hall of Fame, between 9 and 5 Monday through Friday. Now, if folks can't come down and drop off food donations, how else can they contribute? How can they help?
Sure. So we say there's 4 ways that you can make an impact, right? The first is obviously to participate in the food drive and drop off at one of the 2 drop-off locations, your non-perishables. That's amazing, and we appreciate it so much. The second is to donate. You can donate right through United Way, uwpv.org/donate. You can make a donation there, and we have purchasing power as a nonprofit to buy food at a much cheaper price. So your donation, a $10 donation, you buy a can of peas for $1.50, we can buy 10 cans of peas for $1.50. So it makes a huge impact. If you're unable to do that, we're always looking for volunteers in our pantries. Our pantries are volunteer run. So every week when you come in, it is a different corporate group or just individuals that want to give back to the community. And it's a way, without spending any money, to come and make an impact in your community by handing out bags and bagging up the food and making sure that the pantry is ready to go for when the line starts forming. And lastly, if you can't do any of those things, if you could just share on your social media. Everyone has a huge platform, right? So if you can share on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, just sharing the work that we're doing, gosh, it makes such a big impact.
All right, we're going to take a break.
Okay.
When we come back, we're going to talk more about the food drive and other programs and services that are offered by United Way of Pioneer Valley. Stay with us. Welcome back to Western Mass News Getting Answers. This week, our guest is Jessica Prokop. She's the Chief Development Officer for United Way of Pioneer Valley, talking about the food drive. But I want to spend some time talking about the other programs and services offered by the United Way of Pioneer Valley. I know viewers our viewers here in the fall and late summer, early fall, have helped stuff the bus.
They have. I know. I love Stuff the Bus. Stuff the Bus is one of the biggest campaigns we're known for, and that is to make sure that homeless children in the Pioneer Valley have the tools and the supplies that they need to go back to school on the right foot. So we collect everything from backpacks to pencils to pens to notebooks to folders, anything that the kind of towns designate that they'll need. We go out and we get them, and then we get on a big bus and we deliver them to all the schools. It's amazing.
What's it like when you're out delivering these things and giving someone a backpack, all with all the supplies? The reaction you must be getting from these kids.
It's great. So the students aren't actually there. It's usually the teachers and the admins that are taking the backpacks. They're just so excited. I think it's one of those things where teachers know their students, right? And that's their job. And they know what it's like to come to school on the first day and not have the supplies that you need. You're starting off the school year on the wrong foot, and you're starting off feeling different, and no child wants to feel that way. So our goal is to make sure that everything that they need to have a good first day is in that backpack for them, and they feel just like everybody else. So again, that drive wouldn't be the success that it is without our community. We stuffed over 800 backpacks last year. So it's a great campaign, and it's one that I look forward to every year.
So it's like the food and everything else, where under the assumption that you just go and buy it. It's like, well, no, not everybody has that luxury, and that's the other thing we have to think about.
And one thing that we transitioned to last year, again, because the goal of the United Way is to go into the community and listen to the community and make sure that we're pivoting our services based off of the feedback of our agency partners and our individuals and the corporations that we work in. What are they hearing? And the biggest thing we were hearing is teachers need supplies. Our teachers, gosh, they are going into these classrooms, not having the supplies they need, and then going and purchasing it themselves. And what a burden. But they love their students, and they want their students to have the supplies they need. So we started last year, and we hope to make it even bigger this year, providing teacher boxes that have tissues and paper towels, things you think that they wouldn't have to purchase on their own, but they do.
They shouldn't have to.
Cleaning wipes, pencils, pens, Post-its, all of these things that are in these teacher boxes. We just recently did a box truck. We went to, I believe it was Duggan, and we opened our box truck with some extra supplies and said, hey, do you guys need anything? And it was like, kids need candy. I do need pencils. I do need pens. Because again, the same thing for, the holidays, we get a lot of food, right? And then we just talked about how January it drops off. So for Stuff the Bus, at the beginning of the school year, we have all these supplies, but the kids go through them and the teachers go through them. So we're finding kind of towards this area again, this time, the needs there again. So if we have anything extra, of course, we're going to make sure that we get it out into the community. So more to come on Stuff the Bus and making it bigger and better, and how can we support our teachers and make sure they're not having to use their own dollar to purchase supplies.
Right. Tell me about Thrive.
Yeah, Thrive is amazing. Thrive is financial wellness coaching. So a lot of people don't know. We offer one-on-one individual coaching. Want to talk about a credit score, want to talk about your budget, we do that. And we are not affiliated with a bank. We are doing this to help the community. So there's no signing up for a checking account. We want to help you be able to manage your budget. We've started doing it in youth classrooms so that we can start these budgeting practices and the understanding of how important money is young.
The basics.
Right? So you're able to, please go onto our website and look at Thrive, because it's just an amazing service. We helped over 400 people last year through Thrive, whether it was through our agency partners or through individuals taking advantage of our offerings. So Thrive is a great place for you to start if you just want somebody to help you with money matters.
Okay, we're going to take another break.
Yeah.
When we come back, we're going to talk more about the programs offered by United Way and how you can help, too. Stay with us. Welcome back. In my last segment, we're talking with Jessica Prokop, the Chief Development Officer for the United Way of Pioneer Valley, about some of the programs and services. We left off at Thrive. Let's talk about the Community Leadership Connect.
Yeah, it's an amazing program. So Community Leadership Connect is kind of an umbrella program of leadership in the Pioneer Valley. What we wanted to do was, again, address a need of, we want to keep our leaders here, and we want to grow our leaders. And leader is a broad definition. We believe anyone can be a leader. So it is a bunch of programming that we offer to the community. So for example, if you want to join a board and you're like, I want to give back to the community, I'd love to join a nonprofit board, we offer a free service where you can send us your resume and we will try to connect you to a nonprofit who's looking for a board member. So we will make that connection for you.
Make a match.
Yeah, we will. And then every Thursday, the first Thursday of the month, we have the Leadership Lounge. And that is where leaders, again, broad term, can come together and talk about things that are keeping them up at night in a safe space with some coffee and just connecting as a community, leaders in the community that want to make a difference, giving them a safe space to do so. So that's every Thursday at 8 a.m. and it's the first Thursday of every month. It also includes 4 hours of free consultative services to any nonprofit in the area to help them with something that they're struggling in their nonprofit that they couldn't afford to address without the United Way. So that's one of the offerings. And then the last is trainings. So we've had a board basics trainings, but you come in, you sign up, register for free, and you get to come on site to the United Way, and we teach you about the different kind of facets of leadership. And it's all a free service to the community to make sure we want our leaders to love our area, love the Pioneer Valley, and stay here. So what can we do to foster that and grow that? Also, the Youth Leadership Program, that's a new program teaching youth about nonprofit roles. We have leaders from nonprofits come in and speak to them. They get to volunteer in our pantry. They get credit for school for volunteering, and it's just a program that's really exploded to get youth more involved and seeing what they can do in their community. A lot of people don't think about nonprofit as a career goal, but it's such a fulfilling career goal because every day you wake up and you're making a difference. So how can we give children access to that awesome feeling for a career path? Well,
that's it, because we hear more and more about it. You get more than you give.
Right.
When you're doing the volunteering and helping out in many different ways. Well, in the last few minutes, if you want to know about any more of the programs, you obviously go to your website. But you talked a little bit about how the need for volunteers, and if you can't give money, how you can help volunteer too. Let's talk about some of the other events. We talked about Stuff the Bus and what we're having with the food drive and everything else. You've got stuff going on year round.
We do. So what just passed was our community workshop. It was an amazing time. So the community workshop is a free event for families where you get to come and you get to build different kits that we gave out to 9 different local nonprofits. So you could build a dollhouse, you could build a cold weather kit. After you built the kit, we wrapped them like Santa's elves, and then we delivered them to all the nonprofits. And again, it was just a way for kids don't have a lot of opportunity to volunteer. There's not a lot of nonprofits that will take children. We had 6-year-olds that were there in the line putting these kits together. And again, another free resource to the community, and another way we're still partnering with other nonprofits, providing these kits and making sure that we're listening to the community and picking kits that are going to make an impact and that are needed. One of the coolest one was we made an art kit for Bay State, and it was for kids that busy kids while they're sick in bed, and different art kits that they could do while they're having their stay at Bay State. So that was one of the cool kits that people got to put together. But that's the community workshop, and that will be December next year.
All right, we are almost out of time. We're going to remind folks that the food drive starts tomorrow. You can drop off your food donations here at 1300 Liberty Street or at WMAS at the Hall of Fame. And of course, you can always make a monetary donation to your website.
Of course, uwpv.org/donate. Thank you.
Jessica, thank you for coming in. Good to see you, and my thanks to all of you for watching. Stay safe, as my friend Chris Mazzano would say to you in this snowstorm, and we'll see you next week for Getting Answers.